Equity panel, Alexis Shrubby.
I had double nights up on a Tuesday, guys. Should we sit next to each other? Do we like each other have to sit next to each other? I think so.
Hey, you know what? Let's give us some
Little space, yeah. On the stage here.
All right, Alexis, I really appreciate you being here.
I am so glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. So we want to know a little bit more about the Digital Equity Initiative, Internet Equity Initiative at the University of Chicago, and what you have planned for the communities you're focused on.
Thank you. Thanks. That's an awesome question. Hi, I'm Alexis. Nice to meet you all. I live on 63rd and Drexel, and I could not get an Uber down here. 2 Ubers canceled on me to come here. It happens all the time. As a new Southside resident, I moved from Texas to come to the University of Chicago to work at the Data Science Institute. So if any of you are budding data scientists, there's one out there. Come and talk to me about our programs. But I moved from Texas to the University of Chicago to direct the Internet Equity Initiative. And the gist of what we do is measure the internet. That's pretty much it. We measure the speed, bandwidth, latency, reliability, and every single other metric that you can think of when using the internet. And it sounds like a simple thing, like a water meter for your internet. And it turns out that the way that internet is delivered to us really impacts how we engage and the things that we can do online. And there are patterns across Chicago that show certain neighborhoods pay more for slower speeds. We, right now, at this very moment, are seeking people like y'all to host a speed tester at your business or home, so we can explore a hypothesis that we have that the South Side and the West Side experience more internet instability and pay higher prices for slower speeds. And the reason that this is happening, the reason our hypothesis this is occurring, is that there's constrained access to infrastructure in these neighborhoods. So we heard from Senator Preston a little bit earlier about some of the things that he's undertaking. But right now, the federal government has a $42 billion blank check to spend on improving broadband infrastructure in the United States. As a part of that, Illinois got just over $1 billion, $1.04 billion to improve infrastructure. Here's the thing. They put the onus on citizens and they put the onus on states to tell the federal government where the internet is bad and where it's good. It was like a game, a contest almost, where you went to a map, you clicked around, and you input information to show whether or not your internet was actually at the speed that was reflected in this map. The more dots on the map that you won, the bigger a pot of money that you got. Do you know what states came out on top? The states with the fewest amount of dots on the map. Because it is much easier for Alaska, with 12,000 broadband serviceable locations, unlike Illinois that has 50 million. So we've already built a system that favors small and rural states. Here comes Illinois. Illinois is fascinating because it is the United Federation of Chicago and the rest of the state. The density in downstate is some of the least dense in the nation. The density in downstate is almost akin to that of like Alaska or Nebraska when you get out into the west and you get 2 people per square mile. Everybody's in Chicago. So that makes a huge problem for Chicago's state broadband challenge process, which is happening right now. It opened today. Today is your chance to challenge the map in Illinois and secure funding for your neighborhood. So getting all the way back around to your question, and also a question that you, I think, had planned to ask. I'm gonna beat you to the chase, Alex. And I know we've only got 20 minutes, so I'm gonna get out as much as possible as I can. One of your other questions were, how can entrepreneurs help bring broadband or lower prices or more competition to ensure that we have resilient neighborhoods and a thriving tech culture where we want to live? This is your chance right now. I can tell you, I'm exhausted right now because I foolishly answered the phone when the state broadband director called me and said, hey, can you build me something? And I said yes. So we built beachallenge.org is what it's called. It's an automatic speed test tool. You click the button, you put your information in, it takes your speed, shoves it into a backend, and then we will challenge the map for you, because ain't nobody got time to take 3 speed tests on 3 different days, take a screenshot, register for the challenge process. Oh, by the way, individuals can't participate in this process. The NTIA, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, made the rules so that only organizations like your organization can participate, indeed, so maybe we should have a conversation about that, but organizations, units of local government, and community anchor institutions can participate in this process. So even if you as an individual had all of the wherewithal to participate, you'd be blocked by these policies from doing it. So here, this is the thing. This is the thing. The rules, as they have come down, once again, construct the opportunity for inequality that we have seen over and over and over. Because the data game is tilted to those locations that have fewer places to engage with. So I have been repeating this and for those of you who in the next 21 days have somewhere to invite me so that I can repeat this speech, please reach out, because it's me and 5 of us. If you guys want to get involved, broadband is the Wild West. It is the frontier where you can actually have impact. And for those of you who are entrepreneurs and you are frustrated because you go home and your internet cuts out, or your kids come home and they're all online and you can't get whatever it is done that you need to get done, you don't have to accept the status quo. You're already showing up here in this space. So that means that you're people that go to things. You're people that want the internet track, you're hustling, you're those people, those really annoying people that get really interested in one thing and just won't let it go, right? You gotta show up at the state broadband meetings, you have to show up at the Cook County broadband meetings, you have to show up at the city broadband meetings and make yourself be heard. I have studied this for the last 15 years. I can tell you one really annoying person makes a huge difference. Okay, that was a lot. I'm gonna take a break. Alex, thank you.
That was great. I actually, I didn't know where to go from that. Well, I asked you this. So I know your work is on the South Side, since you're in South Shore. Why South Shore? Why not Inglewood or any other neighborhood for that matter?
Yeah, we would love to expand to Inglewood, actually. Yeah, indeed. So, so right now, just to ground things, we have a study right now, and some of you may have read about this at Block Club. Through our community liaison, Nzinga Barbaroos, she found an article that showcased that people in South Shore were not getting their mail. And we went to mail 10,000 postcards to South Shore to share the opportunity to get paid $50 and help us measure the internet. We think that all of those postcards were lost because we didn't have a single bit of engagement. And even if, let's say, this is not my first rodeo, I realize that the University of Chicago does not have a nice reputation on the South Side for very legitimate reasons. But you'd think 1 or 2 people, I mean really, every single time I've mailed things out, we've always had a response. So it turns out we think that the post office lost our mail to South Shore as well. Anyway, some of you might have read this Block Club article on South Shore's mail being lost, and an opportunity to participate in a paid study where you measure your internet, we give you $50, we mail you a box, you mail it back, we high five, and then we take it to Senator Willie Preston and we say, can you help us? Please. But, so, we are focusing on South Shore because we have to start somewhere and measure within a geography and then move over to another geography and move over to another geography. And it just happened to be that we had contacts in South Shore. So if you would like the internet measured in your neighborhood, please find me. We have 1,000 boxes to get out and we want to answer these questions.
We're already on.
Oh, awesome, yes.
Last question, we have another question. Okay, my question to you is, well, it's two parts. What innovations do you foresee in the near future that could, help with broadband infrastructure from a local or state level? And also, what opportunities or challenges do you see for startup founders who are building for broadband access or tools that will enhance broadband?
So I think some of the cool innovations that are forthcoming, at least hyper-locally, the ComEd has actually won a grant to expand middle mile transport access to the south and west sides. And basically, this is kind of like a big highway that loops around, which will lower barriers to entry for more competitors to enter into the broadband space. So if any of you guys are radio tinkerers, if you guys are into signals and things like that, you could start your own neighborhood wireless access service specifically for your neighborhood and have access to lower cost transport, as opposed to purchasing it from a large carrier that would be unaffordable. The whole purpose of this middle mile is to lower those barriers and increase access. And I can't repeat how I know that this is a threat to the cable incumbents, but trust me, it was such a threat that I'm sure some of the people who are involved in government in the room know about what a threat it was. Neighborhood resiliency and that type of access, I think, is one of the places that we can build and help that. And the big challenge to that, for those of you who might be interested in this, is just knowing experience. It's an obscure, it's kind of a niche thing. So you have to, people, when I tell people what I do for my job, they say, that sounds so boring. Infrastructure is fundamentally boring. It is boring. We only take it, we walk on the road, the sidewalk, everything, until it fails. Until it fails. And then it's like, oh, I need my bones. Oh, I need to be able to do these things. So I think one of the challenges is you have to decide to do boring things sometimes and find that niche. And I'm telling you, there's a niche in broadband and we need more of you.
Well, Alexis, we thank you for your time today. This is a